It is a much better thing. Jim, I was wondering if I could ask you just a personal question. What would be the two biggest disappointments you've had in your life?
Two biggest what?
Disappointments.
Oh, well, one of them I was listening to a show called Coast to Coast with George Norrie. I don't know if people know about that. Anyway, they had a guest star on one night, and I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he said that they now have proof, absolute, incontrovertible proof of the existence of Bigfoot. I mean, it was nailed down. He knew of an Indian village, I believe it was somewhere, I should say Native American, sorry. It's not politically correct to say Indian. Native American village somewhere in Alaska, I believe it was Alaska, either that or Canada, and they had captured a living Bigfoot. Now, on the evening he was talking on George Norrie's show, he couldn't release all the details yet, but he said he was about to have a news conference, and he was going to, in 1 week, from that broadcast, he was going to release all the proof and information that was necessary to the press to once and for all prove to the world that Bigfoot does exist. Bigfoot's also called Sasquatch, in case people want to know that. And so I was really interested about that, and I waited with bated breath for a whole week for the news conference, but it never happened. And George Norrie called the fellow up on the phone and said, "What's going on with the news conference? It didn't happen." And he said, "Well, there's been a problem. The Indian tribe had custody of the Bigfoot, or the Indian village, I should say. I don't know what their tribal affiliation is. But
First Nation or Native American, please, Jim.
I'm sorry, First Nation or Native American.
Thank you.
Did I say Indian? I apologize for that. They aren't Indians. Indians are located in Asia, not in North America. Anyway, the Native American village had custody of the living Bigfoot, but somebody, I think it was a dentist, he showed up with some sort of legal paper which forced them to relinquish custody of the Bigfoot over to him, and he drove away with the Bigfoot, never to be seen again. And so George asked the fellow, well, okay, they don't have custody of the Bigfoot, but I'm sure they have photographs. I mean, they had it in their custody. But unfortunately, they had a camera. I think one of the elders of the village did have a camera, but unfortunately it didn't have film in it. And he had, evidently someone forgot to go to the store to buy film. And when you think about it, how disappointing is that? You have absolute, incontrovertible proof of the existence of Bigfoot, yet because somebody forgot to go to the drugstore to buy some film, I mean, you get that close to proof of the existence of Bigfoot, and it evaporates before your eyes because they forgot to buy film for the camera.
Jim, yeah, you talked about a disappointment about the Art Bell, formerly Art Bell, the George Norrie radio program.
Yeah, Coast to Coast.
Coast to Coast with George Norrie. How you were disappointed.
That close to proving the existence of Bigfoot. And
okay,
like,
well, let's have something.
If only they had film in the camera, then we would all know that Bigfoot truly exists.
Okay, let's have something more personal and insightful into...
Well, my other disappointment.
Okay, you have another disappointment.
It was the day I heard that Bridget Fonda was married. For years, I had admired her from afar. I've seen most of her movies, and I mean, she's absolutely one of the most beautiful, most exquisite.
Have you ever seen her in person?
No, I've never seen her in person.
I've
seen her in the movies.
You've seen her in movies?
Yes.
Have you ever seen any relative of hers in person? Her dad, I think, was somebody famous.
No, I've never seen her dad. I have, however, seen her grandfather, Henry Fonda. In fact, he was as close to me as you are to me right now.
would you say that's approximately within a meter?
Yes, within a meter. I've been that close to Henry Fonda.
Whoa, that's so you've. Well, that's quite a thing.
But I was not enamored with Henry Fonda. Let's get back to his grandfather or granddaughter, Bridget. I just think that I developed a crush the moment I saw her. You know, my favorite movie she was in that I liked her the most was Lake Placid. She was so heart be still.
Could you tell me a bit about the plot of that movie, Jim?
It's something about an alligator in Lake Placid. But no, not an alligator. It was a crocodile. It was a huge crocodile. It was eating everybody. It fortunately did not eat Bridget. I don't want to give away the plot of the movie, but thank God it did not eat Bridget. I was worried that Bridget was going to be eaten by the crocodile. Thank God she wasn't. She came very close to being eaten by that crocodile too, by the way. I mean, just inches away.
I'm sorry, Jim.
What?
You cannot give a plot to a movie where the plot is alligator eating people and people screaming and yelling.
It was a crocodile, not an alligator.
Whatever. I apologize. I need to be corrected about the difference.
There's a big difference, Dave, between crocodiles and alligators. A huge difference.
Okay. Now let's have the
I don't really want to go in. Well, the snout on a crocodile is much more narrow than an alligator. Also, crocodiles tend to be more aggressive than alligators, so I just wanted to make that clear. Anyway, that movie in Lake Placid, Bridget Fonda was almost eaten by a crocodile, not an alligator. How on earth it got into Lake Placid, I forget, but I think somebody discarded it as a baby crocodile. That's how it got it.
There was a cartoon show called Wally Gator. Do you want me to sing the theme song to Wally Gator right now, or do you want me to pass?
Let's pass on that, Dave.
You sure? It was a cute cartoon from the late 60s.
I don't think it's absolutely unnecessary to have that theme song.
Okay, I will not be singing the theme song to Wally Gator.
If you sing those things, there are copyright laws. You can't go into singing songs like that on YouTube. You got to keep those in mind. There might be some copyright. You might have to take YouTube will take it off because of copyright violations. You just don't want to go there.
What about if it's public domain?
Well, I'm sure that's not public domain, Dave. That's probably bound to have a copyright.
Could you give a message how we should obey copyright laws?
What?
Could you give a message to the people listening how we should obey copyright laws right now?
Okay. We should obey copyright laws right now.
Okay, thank you for that public service message, James.